You want to be a smart woman? Then understand this. Being smart is not just about education or intelligence. It's about strategy. It's about knowing yourself, reading people, and making choices that protect and empower you. And I'm going to give you 7 principles that will change the way you move in this world. Own your identity. If you don't define who you are, someone else will do it for you. And I promise you, they will get it wrong. You have to know exactly who you are, what you stand for, and where you draw the line. Stop bending to fit someone else's expectations. Stop shrinking so others feel comfortable. You are not here to please. You are here to live your truth, loudly, clearly, and without apology. Master emotional control. The smartest woman in the room is not the loudest, she's the calmest. She's the one who doesn't let anger, fear, or insecurity dictate her actions. Because when you lose control of your emotions, you give someone else control over you. Learn to pause before you speak. Learn to breathe before you react. Your composure is your power. It keeps you sharp when others crumble. Be financially independent. If you rely on someone else to survive, you have already surrendered your power. Money is not about greed. It's about security, choices, and freedom. Make your own. Save it, grow it, protect it. Because a smart woman never wants to be in a position where she has to tolerate disrespect or abuse just to keep a roof over her head. Command respect. You do not ask for respect, you command it. And you do that through your actions, your consistency, and the way you carry yourself. Stop over-explaining. Stop trying to convince people to value you. People respect those who respect themselves, and if someone doesn't, you walk away. No begging, no chasing. Think strategically. Life is not fair, but it is a game, and you better learn how to play it. Stop making decisions based only on emotion. Start thinking like a chess player. See the moves ahead, know the risks, and always have a plan B. Smart women know when to speak, when to stay silent, and when to move without warning. Build unshakable confidence. Confidence is not something you wait to feel. It's something you create. You build it every time you keep a promise to yourself. Every time you face fear instead of avoiding it. Every time you show up, even when you're not ready. Stop waiting for approval. Start giving it to yourself. Protect your boundaries, your time, your energy, your peace. They are treasures. Stop handing them to people who drain you. Say no without explaining. Walk away without guilt. Protect your space like your life depends on it, because it does. You cannot be a smart, powerful woman if you are constantly exhausted from carrying other people's chaos. So here's the truth. Being a smart woman is not about being perfect. It's about being aware, prepared, and unafraid to act in your own best interest. These principles are not just ideas, they are tools. Use them, live them, and watch how your life transforms. If you don't own your identity, the world will hand you one. And here's the problem. It won't be the truth. It'll be a version of you that serves someone else's comfort, someone else's agenda. Too many women let themselves be defined by others, their parents, their partners, their bosses, their culture. And when you live in the box other people put you in, you become smaller than who you were meant to be. You become easier to control, easier to silence, easier to dismiss. Owning your identity means deciding right now who you are going to be, not based on what's expected of you, but based on your own values, your own principles, your own truth. People will tell you who they think you are all the time. They'll tell you you're too much. When you speak up, too ambitious. When you go after what you want, too emotional. When you express what you feel, and not enough. When they want to cut you down. If you don't own your identity, you will start believing them. And the second you start believing them, you hand over the keys to your life. Suddenly, you are performing for their approval instead of living for your purpose. That's how women lose themselves. Not all at once, but piece by piece. Every time they compromise their truth to make someone else feel comfortable. You have to get clear about who you are, and that clarity has to come from within, not from outside validation. If I ask you, who are you? And the first thing you tell me is your job title, your relationship status, or where you live, then you don't know yet Who you are is not your career, it's not your achievements, it's not your circumstances. It's the values you refuse to compromise on, the lines you will not cross, the kind of person you choose to be when no one's watching. If you don't define those things, life will push you around like a leaf in the wind, and you'll wake up one day realizing you've been living somebody else's story. Owning your identity also means taking responsibility for it. You can't claim to be one thing and then live in a way that contradicts it. If you say you're strong, then act strong when it's inconvenient. If you say you value honesty, then tell the truth even when it costs you. Too many people want the label without the lifestyle. They want to be called confident without doing the work to face their fears. They want to be called independent while secretly relying on someone else to make their choices. That's not ownership. That's pretending. And pretending will always crumble under pressure. Understand this: when you own your identity, not everyone is going to like it. And that's the point. You're not here to be liked by everyone. You're here to be respected by yourself. Some people will be uncomfortable with the version of you that doesn't need their approval. They will try to pull you back into the box because they liked you better when you were small, predictable, and easy to manage. But you cannot build your life around people who are invested in keeping you weak. The only people who will truly stand with you are the ones who benefit from your strength, not your submission. Owning your identity is also about knowing your worth without waiting for the world to recognize it. There will be seasons when you are underestimated, ignored, even dismissed. If your confidence only exists when others acknowledge it, then it's not real confidence. It's borrowed, and borrowed things can be taken away. Your worth cannot depend on applause. It cannot depend on who chooses to show up for you or who chooses to walk away. Your worth has to be non-negotiable, unshakable, and independent of outside opinion. You should be able to look in the mirror and know exactly who you are, even if the whole world has forgotten. You also have to protect your identity from being diluted by comparison. Social media will try to convince you that you are only valuable if you look like her, live like her, achieve like her. That's a trap. The smartest thing you can do is stop measuring yourself against people whose lives you don't fully know. Comparison will always blind you to your own strengths. It makes you chase someone else's path instead of walking your own. When you own your identity, you stop trying to be a copy because you understand the value of being an original. Part of owning your identity is getting comfortable with being misunderstood. People will assume things about you. They'll misread your silence as weakness, your kindness as naivety, your confidence as arrogance. Let them. You don't need to explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Every time you waste energy justifying who you are stealing energy from building who you are. Smart women know when to clarify and when to walk away without a word. But here's something most people won't tell you. Owning your identity is hard work. It's not just about feeling empowered on a good day. It's about holding on to yourself when life hits you with loss, rejection, and failure. It's about not letting those moments redefine you in ways that steal your strength. If you fail, it doesn't mean you're a failure. If someone betrays you, it doesn't mean you're unworthy. If something ends, it doesn't mean you are broken beyond repair. Your identity has to be anchored so deeply that no storm can rip it out of you. And yes, owning your identity also means evolving it. Who you are today may not be who you are in 5 years, and that's a good thing. Growth is not a betrayal of your identity, it's proof that you're living it. The core of you stays the same, your values, your integrity, your self-respect, but your skills, your mindset, your confidence, they should be constantly expanding. A smart woman is not afraid to reinvent herself because she knows her identity isn't tied to any one version of her. It's tied to the truth she carries inside, no matter what changes on the outside. When you own your identity, you set the tone for how the world treats you. You teach people how to see you, how to speak to you, how to value you. If you carry yourself like you belong, people believe it. If you act like your voice matters, people listen. If you hold your ground, people think twice before pushing you. That's the power of identity. It shapes not only how you see yourself, but how the world responds to you. And the best part? Once you truly own it, no one can take it away. The woman with the most power in the room isn't the one talking the loudest or making the biggest scene. She's the one who stays calm while everyone else loses their head. She's the one who doesn't let her emotions get hijacked. Because the second you let anger, fear, or insecurity run the show, you hand over the wheel to someone else. That's how people manipulate you. By provoking you, by triggering you, by making you react before you think. When they control your emotions, they control your decisions. And when they control your decisions, they control your life. We live in a world that constantly tries to pull emotional reactions out of you. People will poke at your insecurities just to get a rise out of you. They will push your buttons, hoping you lose composure so they can paint you as irrational, weak, or unprofessional. That's why mastering emotional control isn't just about being calm. It's about protecting your credibility. It's about refusing to let someone else's behavior dictate your behavior. No one should have that much power over you. Some people think emotional control means suppressing your feelings. It doesn't. It means owning your feelings instead of letting them own you. It's the ability to pause and ask yourself, what's the smart move here? Instead of instantly reacting. That pause, that split second of control, is often the difference between making a decision you can stand by and making a decision you'll regret. In high-pressure situations, the calm person is the one people trust. If you're in a crisis and everyone is panicking, people will look to the person who's collected, who's thinking clearly, who's not letting adrenaline make the choices. That's leadership. And leadership starts with self-control. You can't lead others if you can't lead yourself. There's a reason interrogation experts, negotiators, and top leaders train themselves to stay composed. They know that the person who keeps their cool has the advantage. If you lose your temper, you're playing on their terms. If you stay composed, you make them play on yours. This isn't just about arguments or conflicts. It's about every area of your life. In business negotiations, in relationships, in public speaking, in moments of crisis, the person who remains calm is the one who gets the best outcome. Emotional control is built through practice, not theory. You can't just decide one day to be calm under pressure. You have to train for it. That means exposing yourself to situations that challenge you and practicing how you respond. It means noticing your triggers and learning how to disarm them. If someone insults you, you don't automatically fire back. You decide if it's even worth a response. If you get bad news, you don't spiral into panic. You take a breath and focus on what you can control next. Over time, this becomes muscle memory. Here's the truth. People will test your control the most when you're winning. They'll try to bait you into emotional reactions so they can take away your momentum. Maybe it's a coworker who tries to embarrass you in a meeting. Maybe it's a partner who knows exactly which words cut deep. Maybe it's a stranger on the internet throwing insults. In all these cases, the smartest move is to remember this. When you stay calm, you win twice. You protect your energy and you frustrate the person trying to control you. And here's another thing. Control isn't about being emotionless. It's about timing your emotions. There's a time to be passionate, to raise your voice, to fight with everything you've got. But that moment should be chosen, not forced out of you by someone else's actions. Passion without control is chaos. Passion with control is power. You also have to recognize that emotional control doesn't just protect you from other people. It protects you from yourself. We've all made decisions in anger or fear that we later regret. Maybe you quit too soon, said something you couldn't take back, or burned a bridge you actually needed. Emotional control is that voice in your head that says, pause. Think, is this move for me, or am I just reacting to them? That voice has saved more careers, relationships, and reputations than people will ever realize. One of the most dangerous myths is that expressing every feeling in the moment is authentic. It's not. Authenticity is knowing how you feel and still choosing the most effective way to act. That's the difference between maturity and impulsiveness. Smart women know that they don't have to respond to everything. Silence is sometimes the most powerful answer. Walking away is sometimes the strongest move. Mastering emotional control also means separating feelings from facts. Just because you feel disrespected doesn't always mean disrespect was intended. Just because you feel afraid doesn't mean you're actually in danger. Feelings are real, but they're not always accurate. If you can learn to filter your emotions through logic, you'll make decisions that are both clear-headed and effective. I've been in situations where the stakes were life or death, where chaos was exploding all around me, and I had to make decisions in seconds. The only reason I could was because I had trained myself to keep my mind steady, even when my heart was racing. That's emotional control. It's not about pretending you're not scared or angry. It's about refusing to let those emotions dictate your next move. The truth is, most people are not used to dealing with someone who refuses to get pulled into emotional games. If you can master this, you instantly set yourself apart. People will notice you don't take the bait, you don't overreact, you don't crumble under pressure. That makes you unpredictable in the best way, because they can't manipulate what they can't control. It's not easy. You will have moments where you want to scream, where you want to slam the door, where you want to fire off the angry text. But in those moments, remind yourself short-term satisfaction often costs long-term progress. Every time you choose control over reaction, you strengthen your position. Every time you pause before you act, you teach yourself that you, not your emotions, are in charge. And once you've built that level of control, it becomes one of the most unshakable forms of power you can have. If you want to be truly free, you have to be financially independent. I don't care how much someone loves you, how much they promise to take care of you, or how secure they say you are never fully in control of your life if you can't stand on your own 2 feet financially. Money is not about greed. It's about choices. It's about having the power to say yes or no without worrying about survival. It's about knowing that no matter what happens, you can take care of yourself. That is real security. Too many people, especially women, are taught to rely on others for money. They're told it's safer to let someone else handle the finances, that it's easier to focus on other things. And maybe that works, until it doesn't, until the relationship ends, until the job disappears, until the promises break. I've seen strong, capable women lose everything because they handed over their financial power. Not because they weren't smart, but because they believed the lie that depending on someone else was easier. It's never easier. It's dangerous. Financial independence isn't just about paying your bills. It's about building a life where you're not trapped by them. It's about having enough saved, invested, and protected so that if life throws you a curveball, you can handle it without begging, without settling, without sacrificing your dignity. When you have your own money, you're not stuck in toxic jobs or toxic relationships because you can't afford to leave. You have the freedom to walk away from anything that doesn't serve you. That's a kind of power you can't fake. Some people will try to make you feel guilty for wanting that power. They'll tell you it's selfish, that you're being too independent, that love should be enough. But love doesn't pay rent. Love doesn't buy groceries. Love doesn't cover your medical bills. Love is beautiful, but love without financial security can turn into dependence. And dependence can be used against you. I've seen people use money as a weapon. They control what you can do, where you can go, and even who you can be. When you have your own financial foundation, no one can hold that over you. The first step is mindset. You have to believe that you are capable of earning, managing, and growing your own money. Too many people tell themselves, I'm not good with money, and then they stop trying. That's not an identity. It's an excuse. You can learn. You can get smarter. You can build the skills. And you have to, because the world isn't designed to hand you financial stability. You have to create it. Start by tracking every dollar. Know where your money goes. Most people think they need more money when what they really need is to stop leaking the money they already have. Little habits add up. The daily spending that feels small but drains you over time. Once you have control over your spending, you can start building savings. And savings are not extra money you keep around for fun. They're your safety net. They're what stand between you and panic when something goes wrong. Then you move into growth. Saving is good, but investing is how you build real wealth. And I'm not talking about risky gambling. I'm talking about steady, long-term growth in assets that hold or increase in value, stocks, real estate, retirement accounts. Learn enough to protect yourself from being taken advantage of. Never hand over all your financial decisions to someone else without understanding what's happening. Blind trust in money matters is not love. It's neglect. I know talking about money can feel uncomfortable, especially if you grew up in a household where it was taboo or where it was always a source of stress. But avoiding the topic doesn't make it safer. You have to face it head on. You have to make it part of your daily awareness, not something you think about only when there's a crisis. That's how smart people stay ahead. They treat money like a tool they know how to use, not a mystery they hope someone else will handle. There's also discipline involved. Financial independence doesn't happen if you're constantly living for the moment, chasing instant gratification. You have to be willing to say no now so you can say yes later. That means skipping some things, delaying some pleasures, and making choices that feel boring but pay off big in the long run. Every dollar you save or invest is a brick in the foundation of your freedom. And don't think for a second that this is just about numbers. It's about self-respect. When you know you can stand on your own, you move differently. You negotiate differently. You choose relationships differently. You're not looking for someone to save you because you've already saved yourself. You attract people who respect you, not people who see you as dependent. There will be people who don't like this version of you. People who preferred you when you needed them. People who feel threatened by your independence because it means they can't control you. Let them be uncomfortable. You are not here to make others feel secure in your dependence. You are here to make yourself secure in your independence. Financial independence doesn't mean you have to do everything alone. It means you choose who you rely on, not that you're forced to rely on them. It means you enter partnerships, business or personal, from a place of equality, not desperation. It means that if something changes, you can adjust without your entire life falling apart. And here's the truth: when you have your own money, you think differently. You make choices based on what's best for you, not what's safest to keep the bills paid. You can take calculated risks, chase bigger opportunities, and explore more options. Money won't make you happy, but it will give you the freedom to pursue what does. Without it, you're often stuck living in survival mode, and survival mode kills dreams. This is why you have to start now, no matter where you are. I don't care if you're just starting your career, if you've been out of the workforce, or if you feel like you're too far behind. It's never too late. Every step you take toward financial independence is a step toward freedom. And that freedom, that's the foundation for everything else you want in life. Respect is not something you politely request. It's something you command. The moment you start asking for people to respect you, you've already given away your power. Because real respect doesn't come from pleading, it comes from how you carry yourself, the standards you set, and the boundaries you enforce. If you want people to treat you differently, stop focusing on their behavior and start focusing on your own. How you present yourself, how you speak, how you act when no one is watching. That sets the tone for everything. People watch more than they listen. You can give a speech about self-worth all day long, but if you allow people to cross your boundaries, they'll believe your actions over your words. Respect is built when your behavior consistently shows that you value yourself. That means you don't tolerate disrespect. Not once. Not in special cases. Not because you're afraid of losing someone. The moment you allow it, you've taught them they can do it again. And they will. Commanding respect starts with self-respect. If you talk down to yourself, neglect your own needs, or constantly put yourself last, other people will take that as permission to do the same. You teach people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. If you walk into a room with your head down, voice small, and energy apologetic, you're signaling that you expect to be overlooked. If you walk in standing tall, speaking clearly, and making eye contact, you're signaling that you're not afraid to take up space. The difference is not in arrogance. It's in certainty. You also have to understand that not everyone will like you when you start commanding respect. Some people only liked you when you were easy to control, when you said yes to everything, when you kept quiet to avoid conflict. The moment you start asserting yourself, they'll call you difficult, cold, or arrogant. Let them talk. Their discomfort is not your problem. It's a sign that you're no longer giving them the version of you they could manipulate. That's growth. Commanding respect isn't about being aggressive. It's not about raising your voice or trying to dominate people. In fact, the most respected people are often the calmest. They don't waste words. They don't try to prove themselves in every conversation. They let their work, their consistency, and their presence speak for them. They understand that respect is earned through quiet strength, not loud demands. It also means being consistent. You can't expect people to respect your boundaries if you only enforce them sometimes. You can't tell people to treat you a certain way and then reward them with your time and attention when they don't. Consistency is what makes people take you seriously. If you say no and mean it, people will stop testing you. If you set a standard and stick to it, people will adapt or remove themselves. Either way, you win. One of the most important parts of commanding respect is knowing when to walk away. Not every fight is worth having, and not every person is worth convincing. If someone repeatedly disrespects you, stop giving them access to you. Respect yourself enough to leave the room, end the conversation, or cut off the relationship. Your energy is too valuable to waste on people who refuse to value it. Walking away is not weakness. It's a statement that you won't compete for basic decency. You also need to respect others if you expect respect in return. That doesn't mean tolerating bad behavior. It means operating with integrity. You can be firm without being cruel. You can set boundaries without humiliating someone. People remember not just what you say, but how you make them feel. If you consistently show fairness, professionalism, and honesty, even your critics will respect you because they know where you stand. A big part of this is learning to stop over-explaining yourself. When you make a decision, stand by it without drowning in justifications. The more you explain, the more it sounds like you're asking for permission. Respect is lost when you act like you need approval for your own choices. State your decision, be clear, move on. People may not like it, but they will respect it. You have to be prepared for the pushback. When you raise your standards, some people will test you harder. They'll try to get a reaction. They'll challenge your limits. They'll try to guilt-trip you. Stay steady. The moment you crumble under pressure, you teach them that your boundaries are negotiable. But when you hold your line, calmly, firmly, without apology, you teach them something else. You mean what you say. Commanding respect is also about showing results. If you consistently follow through on what you say you're going to do, people will trust you. And trust is the foundation of respect. The most respected people aren't perfect, but they're reliable. They don't make empty promises. They deliver. And when they can't, they own up to it. That kind of integrity is rare and people notice it. Another thing, never compete for attention. Respect doesn't come from trying to be the loudest voice in the room or constantly reminding people of your worth. If you're always chasing recognition, you're telling the world you don't believe you deserve it unless it's handed to you. True respect comes when you do the work, hold your ground, and let your presence speak without constant self-promotion. The right people will notice. The rest don't matter. In the end, respect is not about titles, money, or status. You can have all of those things and still not be respected if you don't carry yourself with self-respect. And you can have none of those things and still be respected if you live with strength, consistency, and integrity. The moment you stop trying to convince people to value you and start living like you value yourself, everything changes. People see it. They feel it. And even if they don't like you, they will respect you. Life is not a straight road. It's a game. And the people who win are not always the ones who work the hardest or shout the loudest. They're the ones who think ahead. Too many people move through life like it's a casual stroll, reacting to whatever happens in the moment. They make decisions based only on how they feel right now, not on where those decisions will take them. That's how you end up stuck, blindsided, or outplayed. If you want to be a smart woman, you have to stop playing checkers while life is playing chess. Thinking strategically means seeing the bigger picture. It's the ability to step back from the chaos and look at all the moving parts, not just your next move, but the moves after that. It means understanding that every choice has consequences, and the consequences of those consequences shape your future. When you think strategically, you stop chasing instant gratification and start making moves that build long-term wins. One of the biggest mistakes people make is treating every situation like it's isolated. They make an emotional decision in the moment without considering how it affects the next 5 steps. In relationships, they say things they can't take back. In business, they burn bridges they might need later. In life, they quit too soon because the path got uncomfortable. A strategic mind understands that short-term discomfort is sometimes the price of long-term success. This isn't about being cold or calculating, it's about being intentional. It's about asking yourself before every major decision, what's the goal? What's the smartest way to get there? And what are the risks? Most people ask only the first question, if that. They act without thinking through the possible outcomes. Then they're shocked when things don't go their way. Strategy is what protects you from being constantly surprised by life. Strategic thinking also means understanding people. You can't predict every situation, but you can learn to read the players in the game. What motivates them? What do they fear? What do they want? The smartest people aren't just good at making their own moves. They're good at anticipating the moves of others. If you can see where someone is likely to go before they get there, you can position yourself ahead of them. That's an advantage most people never even think to develop. But thinking strategically requires discipline. You have to resist the temptation to react impulsively. Sometimes you have to bite your tongue. Sometimes you have to hold your cards a little longer. Sometimes you have to take a step back, not because you're losing, but because you're setting yourself up for a bigger win. That's hard for people who want instant results. But patience is a weapon in the hands of someone who knows how to use it. Another part of strategy is having a plan B and a plan C. If your entire future depends on one path working perfectly, you're already vulnerable. Life is unpredictable, and the smartest women prepare for that. They don't just hope things will go as planned, they create multiple ways to win. They understand that flexibility is power. If one door closes, they already have another one open. And here's the truth, strategic thinking often means keeping your moves to yourself. You don't announce every plan, every goal, every step you're taking, not because you're secretive for no reason, but because not everyone needs to know your strategy. Some people will cheer for you, but others will look for ways to block you. The less they know, the less they can interfere. This doesn't mean you're paranoid. It means you're smart enough to protect your plans until they're strong enough to stand on their own. Loose talk can ruin good strategy. You don't need to prove you're doing something by broadcasting it. You prove it when the results are visible. Strategic thinking also means knowing when to retreat. Not every battle is worth fighting, and not every fight needs to be fought now. Sometimes the smartest move is to walk away and come back when the timing is right. People who confuse pride with strength will see this as weakness, but it's actually the opposite. Weak people fight every battle because they can't stand the thought of not winning immediately. Strong people know that some wins are only possible if you wait for the right moment. To think strategically, you also have to learn from the past, yours and other people's. Every mistake you've made, every failure you faced, every time you've been blindsided, those are lessons. If you're smart, you study them. You ask yourself what you missed, what you could have done differently, what signs you ignored. You don't dwell on them emotionally. You dissect them logically so you don't repeat them. The same goes for success. When something works, don't just celebrate. Analyze why it worked. What did you do right? What factors played in your favor? How can you recreate those conditions? Strategic thinking is about turning both wins and losses into tools for the future. The world often rewards the prepared more than the talented. You might not be the most skilled or the most experienced, but if you can see the angles, if you can anticipate the challenges, if you can plan your moves ahead of time, you'll beat people who are technically better than you. That's the power of strategy. It evens the playing field. And yes, strategy takes energy. It's easier to just drift through life, reacting to whatever happens. But drifting puts your future in other people's hands. When you think strategically, you take control. You're not waiting for opportunities, you're creating them. You're not surprised by setbacks. You're ready for them. You're not hoping for the best. You're prepared for the worst, while still aiming for the best. Thinking strategically is what allows you to survive in tough times and thrive in good ones. It gives you the clarity to act with purpose instead of panic. It's not about being perfect. It's about being prepared, adaptable, and deliberate. And when you master that, life stops happening to you. You start making life happen. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. People like to think it's a natural trait that some women just have it and others don't. That's not true. Confidence is not a gift, it's a skill, and like any skill, it's developed through action. You can't wait for it to magically appear one day. You have to create it piece by piece, choice by choice, every single time you show up for yourself. The reason so many people lack confidence is because they keep waiting to feel ready before they take action. They think confidence comes first, then courage. But it's the other way around. Courage comes first. You act despite fear, and the more you do it, the more evidence you build that you can handle hard things. That evidence becomes confidence. Without action, you're just hoping, and hope is not a strategy. Confidence is built in private before it's seen in public. It's in the moments you hold yourself to a promise you made to yourself, even when no one else is watching. When you say you'll get up early to work on your goals, and you actually do it, that's confidence being built. When you face something you're afraid of instead of avoiding it, that's confidence being built. When you fail, but decide to try again anyway, that's confidence being built. Every one of those moments is a brick in the foundation of self-belief. The most confident people are not the ones who never feel fear. They're the ones who don't let fear make their decisions. They've trained themselves to push forward even with uncertainty in their chest. That's why confidence looks so powerful from the outside. It's not the absence of doubt, it's the refusal to let doubt win. You also can't fake confidence forever. People say, fake it till you make it, and while there's some truth in that, acting confident can help you grow into it. Eventually, you need the real thing. Real confidence comes from competence. It's knowing you've done the work, knowing you've prepared, knowing you've faced challenges and survived them. That's why experience is such a powerful teacher, because the more you do, the more proof you collect that you can do even more. But confidence is fragile if it's built only on other people's approval. If you need validation to feel secure, then you're not really confident. You're dependent on being fed compliments to keep your self-esteem alive. Real confidence is internal. It's when you know your worth even if no one says it. It's when you can stand in a room full of critics and still know who you are. That doesn't mean you ignore feedback. It means feedback doesn't define you. Another thing, confidence is not arrogance. Arrogance is loud and insecure. Confidence is quiet and unshakable. Arrogance needs to be seen and recognized. Confidence is fine even if it goes unnoticed. Confident people don't feel the need to prove themselves constantly. They know what they bring to the table, and they don't have to announce it every 5 minutes. They let their actions, their consistency, and their results speak for them. To build unshakable confidence, you have to challenge yourself regularly. You can't grow confidence by staying in safe, familiar territory all the time. You have to put yourself in situations that make you uncomfortable, that stretch your limits, that force you to adapt. Every time you do, your comfort zone expands, and so does your confidence. It's like working a muscle. If you never use it, it stays weak. You also have to be careful about the people you surround yourself with. Confidence grows in environments that support and challenge you, not in ones that constantly tear you down. If you're around people who belittle your goals, dismiss your progress, or make you doubt yourself, your confidence will suffer. That's why part of building confidence is learning to distance yourself from voices that undermine you, even if those voices are familiar or close to you. Self-talk is another piece of the puzzle. The way you speak to yourself matters more than you realize. If you constantly tell yourself you're not good enough, not ready, not capable, your brain starts to believe it. But if you remind yourself of your wins, your growth, and your resilience, you're reinforcing the belief that you can handle what's ahead. Confidence is built in your mind before it's shown in your actions. You also have to be okay with failing in public. Most people aren't actually afraid of failing, they're afraid of being seen failing. But here's the truth. Failure is where the confidence comes from. When you fail and survive, you learn that failure is not fatal. You learn that you can recover, adapt, and try again. That's why confident people take more risks. They know failure doesn't destroy them, it develops them. And the more you practice, the less power fear has over you. When you've spoken in front of people enough times, you stop panicking about public speaking. When you've had enough tough conversations, you stop fearing confrontation. When you've taken enough risks, you stop worrying so much about what could go wrong, because you've seen what can go right. Confidence is the byproduct of repetition and resilience. One of the most important things to remember is that confidence is not a destination. It's an ongoing process. There will be days you feel unshakable and days you don't. That's normal. The goal is not to never feel insecure. The goal is to have built enough strength and proof within yourself that even on bad days, you still take the next step. You still show up. You still back yourself even when your feelings aren't on your side. Real confidence is steady. It doesn't spike only when things are going well and vanish the moment things get hard. It's there in the wins and it's there in the losses. It's what allows you to keep moving forward when others stop. It's what makes people trust you, follow you, and believe in you because they can see that you believe in yourself. Boundaries are not about being cold or distant. They are about being clear. They are the invisible lines that protect your energy, your time, your self-respect, and your peace of mind. Without them, you allow people to take more than they should, demand more than you can give, and cross into parts of your life they have no right to enter. The truth is, people will only respect the limits you enforce. If you don't define what is acceptable, they will define it for you, and it will almost never be in your favor. Too many women struggle with setting boundaries because they've been taught to prioritize being liked over being respected. From a young age, you're told to be polite, to smile, to not make others uncomfortable. And while kindness is a strength, it becomes a weakness when it's at the expense of your own well-being. Every time you say yes, when you mean no, every time you allow someone to take advantage because you don't want to upset them, you are telling them your comfort matters less than theirs. Over time, this erodes your confidence, your energy, and your self-worth. Protecting your boundaries starts with knowing yourself. You have to be brutally honest about what drains you, what hurts you, and what crosses the line for you. If you don't know your limits, how can you expect anyone else to? You must define them in your mind before you can communicate them to others. And once you define them, you have to enforce them consistently, without apology. One of the most powerful things you can learn is that no is a complete sentence. You don't need to over-explain, justify, or defend it. People who respect you won't demand an explanation. People who don't respect you will argue, manipulate, or guilt-trip you into changing your mind. That's where you need to be strong enough to hold your ground. If you cave every time someone pushes, you teach them that your boundaries are negotiable. The more you hold firm, the less they'll test you. Boundaries aren't just for protecting yourself from others, they're also for protecting yourself from yourself. It's easy to overcommit, to say yes to too many opportunities, to give away too much of your time. But if you're constantly overextended, you're not functioning at your best. You're running on empty, and when you do that long enough, resentment builds. That resentment isn't just toward others. It's toward yourself, for allowing it to happen. That's why setting boundaries is an act of self-respect and self-preservation. Some people will not like your boundaries. That's not your problem, that's theirs. If someone gets angry or offended because you won't give them more than you can, it's because they were benefiting from you having none. The people who truly value you will adjust to your limits. The ones who don't are revealing themselves. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but you have to remember, your goal is not to keep everyone happy. Your goal is to live in alignment with your values and protect the life you are building. Another mistake people make is thinking boundaries mean you have to be aggressive. You don't. You can be direct without being disrespectful. You can be firm without being rude. The key is clarity. A vague boundary is no boundary at all. If you tell someone, "I'd prefer if you didn't do that," but keep allowing it, you've sent a mixed signal. Boundaries are not about hints. They are about clear, direct communication followed by consistent action. In the workplace, boundaries are just as important as in your personal life. If you allow colleagues to dump their responsibilities on you, or you're always the one staying late to cover for others, you are teaching them you're okay being overworked. If you never push back on unrealistic deadlines, you're teaching them you'll accept whatever they demand. The workplace is full of people who will take as much as they can. Your job is to decide what you will and will not allow. Social media is another place where boundaries are often overlooked. You do not owe strangers access to every detail of your life. You do not have to respond to every comment or message. You do not have to tolerate disrespect or harassment online just because you're public. Boundaries in the digital world are just as real as in the physical one, and enforcing them is part of protecting your mental health. Enforcing boundaries will test you because it often means risking relationships, opportunities, or approval. But ask yourself, what are you really losing? If the only reason someone is in your life is because you have no limits, is that truly a relationship worth keeping? If an opportunity demands that you betray your own values, is it really an opportunity at all? The cost of no boundaries is always higher than the cost of losing the wrong people or opportunities. The more you practice setting boundaries, the more natural it becomes. At first, you might feel guilty, selfish, or uncomfortable. That's normal. It's a sign you've been conditioned to put others ahead of yourself. But with time, you'll realize boundaries don't push people away. They filter the wrong people out and strengthen the right relationships. The ones who stay will be the ones who respect you, value you, and understand that your no is not a rejection of them. It's a protection of you. There's a powerful shift that happens when you stop fearing people's reactions to your boundaries and start focusing on your responsibility to protect your own life. You become harder to manipulate. You stop giving away your time and energy to things that drain you. You start making decisions based on what's right for you, not just what's convenient for others. And that's when you start living on your terms, not theirs. When you truly embrace boundaries, you understand they are not walls to keep everyone out. They are gates that you control. You decide who gets in, how close they get, and how long they stay. That control is not about power over others. It's about power over your own life. And once you master that, you stop being at the mercy of other people's demands, expectations, and moods. You start living in a way that is sustainable, fulfilling, and fully aligned with the person you are becoming. The difference between women who live fully and those who live exhausted isn't luck, it's intention. It's the decisions they make every single day about what they will allow and what they won't. It's the discipline to stick to those decisions even when it's uncomfortable. Life will constantly test you through people who overstep, opportunities that tempt you to compromise, and situations that push you beyond your limits. If you don't have a clear sense of who you are and what you stand for, you'll bend in ways that break you. Being a smart woman is not about having all the answers. It's about asking the right questions of yourself. Is this in line with my values? Does this serve my future or only my present comfort? Am I saying yes because I want to, or because I'm afraid to say no? These questions force you to pause before reacting, and in that pause, you gain power. You have to stop treating your life like it's an open house where anyone can walk in and rearrange the furniture. You are the architect, the designer, and the owner. The people who enter your space, physically, mentally, and emotionally, should be there because you invited them, not because they pushed their way in. That's what the 7 principles are about. They're not just random advice. They're tools for building a foundation that can't be shaken by other people's opinions, demands, or judgments. Owning your identity gives you direction. Emotional control gives you strength. Financial independence gives you freedom. Commanding respect ensures you are treated with dignity. Thinking strategically allows you to move ahead instead of staying stuck. Building unshakable confidence lets you step into any room knowing you belong. And protecting your boundaries ensures you can sustain all of it without burning out or breaking down. Understand this. There will always be people who underestimate you, test you, and even resent you when you stand tall. That's not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their limitations. Your responsibility is not to shrink yourself so they can feel comfortable, but to expand fully into the woman you are meant to be. The truth is, the world will not hand you respect, security, or success. You have to claim them. You have to be willing to be misunderstood, to be called difficult, to be labeled too ambitious or too independent. Because the alternative is to be overlooked, taken for granted, and controlled. And that is not the life you are here to live. So decide today, no more living small, no more apologizing for wanting more, no more giving your power away to people who wouldn't know what to do with it if they had it. Step into every room, every conversation, and every opportunity with the quiet, unshakable confidence of a woman who knows exactly who she is and refuses to be anything less. That is what it means to be a truly smart woman, and that is the life you deserve.